And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Today we are to talk about the chicken and egg. Yes, what does that actually mean? This is to do with housing and schools. Here we have myself, Sinéad Galvin, founder of Steps into Spain. And today I'm speaking with my colleague, Angélica. Angélica, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching us today. My name is Angélica Lima Miller, and I am a relocator in our Comunidad de Madrid. That's not only the city, but also the small towns around the city. What I do, I've been in relocation for the last 6 years, and I care for finding you a place to stay for all terms, long or short, and whatever your visa, whether you are here for work or to take a sabbatic year with your family, whatever it is.
Okay,
yes, that's me, your angel in Madrid.
You are our angel in Madrid, Angélica. So Angélica and I, we met each other back in 2020, really, when we both started our businesses. I help families to find schools, and Angélica helps families to find their house here in Madrid. Right, Angélica? So without further ado, let's go on to our greatest, what we're going to discuss today, which is chicken or egg. Which comes first? And of course, with the chicken and egg, what we're really looking at is housing and schools. Right, Angélica? So, Angélica, what do you think, in your opinion, what would you say comes first? Housing or schools?
Well, you know I'm going to defend housing, do you?
Of course.
Well, basically because that's where your paperwork really starts. You need to register in the town hall to go on with in your pursuit of the resident card, the TIE, and you to have your contract, your rental contract for at least 6 months.
The famous padrón.
Yes, that's the padrón. The empadronamiento is the process. And the result is you take this contract to the town hall. They register you and your family, all the members of the family that are going to live in a certain address. And then with this paper, you go to the police and you can get, in individual appointments, you can get your card for each one of the member, of each one of the members.
The family members, right?
That's the base. Yes.
Yes.
But
it's a good point, Angélica.
It's important as well. Yes, I mean, school. The school is something important as well. Yes.
Oh, it is very important, Angélica.
You wanted to
very important. I do, because it's important. Say with housing or schools, and what comes first. I mean, some families, when they move here to Madrid, will choose a school, and then will decide where they're going to live, or vice versa. And when they do it, if they're going to a public or a private school, you're very flexible of where you can live. You could live next to the school, or if you wish, you could get a bus to school, which almost all of the private schools in Madrid have a private school bus. But if you want to choose a public or a concertado school, which are the other two main types of schools here in Madrid, and if you apply as a late applicant, which means if you move here in the summer, which, as Angélica will tell you, is a really busy time for families relocating to Madrid, it's important where you're going to live, because you've got to have your padrón, which means you've got to have rented an apartment or a house. You have to have your padrón, and only then can you apply to a school. But this is definitely the chicken and the egg, because you've got to have done that before you apply to the school. So then you need to know what places are available at the school. And of course, if you've got a 10-year-old, they're okay, they're mobile. They can go from one end of Chambéry to the other end of Chambéry, and it's not that difficult. It's not that long a walk. But how about if you're traveling, if you're walking with a toddler, which we all know takes a long time, it makes a big difference. And I do think that's something that we do quite well together, Angelica. Families approach me, they're looking for schools. I approach Angelica because they also need help with housing. And then Angelica and I will work together to collaborate to check where can we get the schools that will also match the housing, which will make it very easy for families relocating to Madrid. So yes, it's a tricky one to kind of get both. So rather than like what comes first, they have to go together. Right.
Definitely. It's a pick up, no? Where are they standing? Yes. What is? Where are they? They like this area. Okay. What schools are still available in that area, right? And things. It's coordination. It's volume.
Without a doubt.
Indeed.
And let's see, Angelica, has it ever happened to you that a family has made the choice? They've chosen this, or they've chosen the neighborhood, and then perhaps it doesn't work doesn't work out, or isn't as they had imagined.
Well, certainly that can happen anytime, right? They have an idea from the pictures, from references of other friends that have lived and for whom the area has worked, but when they have seen the place personally, then they realized it's not for them and they start searching elsewhere. And that's not a problem, right? Because individuals and for as well, I mean, there are lots of places where you can live in this city, and there are good schools everywhere just as well. So what we do is we make a list. When I say we, it is my client and I. We make a list of their priorities. We also analyze they didn't like of what they had heard before, and what was the thing. And we try to find some new places where they can fit in much more comfortably.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's a lot to do with planning, right? I remember a few years ago, I had one of my families, they had decided that they really wanted to live in a certain neighborhood, a great neighborhood. And they had their heart set on a certain school. But what was the issue? The issue was that one was not close to the other place. And they thought it would be okay because they were moving from a big city like London, and that London, comparison to Madrid, the commute would be a reasonable commute. Madrid is not as big as London, but it's still in the morning time. It's pretty busy in the morning time when everybody's trying to get to school, everybody's trying to get to work. So this family, after the September, was okay. Oh, sorry, as well. And the commute was about 30, 40 minutes. By car, it was about 25, but they went on the private school bus, which meant lots and lots of stops. So your journey is actually longer. So this family, the first couple of months was okay. Then it started to get colder, darker in the morning, darker in the evenings. And eventually what happened was they had to change schools. They stayed in the same neighborhood, but they changed schools to try and make it a little bit easier. So there are lots of things to take into consideration when thinking about what is your ideal neighborhood, and especially if you're moving here with children and the schools. So it's an important one to get right, the same as it's important to get the school right from the very beginning. Do you agree?
Certainly. Yes. Walking distance is something. Sometimes no, if they have chosen a school first, then they want their house to be no further than a 15-minute walk or 20-minute walk.
That's the
right?
Dream, right?
And so well, hopefully we find something.
Hopefully we do. I mean, my kids' school actually isn't very close to our house at all. But there you go. I help other families to get that part right. So tell me, Angelica, both you and I, we work with lots of families who are relocating from other countries. And some of these families, they've relocated several times. And quite often, depending on their job, if they're moving with their job, a big relocation firm will be the person that will be responsible for moving. Have you ever had one of your clients that have already been working with a big relocation firm, and what was their experience like? Because obviously both you and I were local specialists that work one-to-one with their
Yeah.
clients. So it's not the same as a big global firm. And obviously it's got its advantages and some of its disadvantages as well. What has your experience been like with your families, and if they've had prior experience with the relocations companies?
Well, I think what they find with me is accompaniment, is the confidence to text me their doubts anytime and to be able to choose more accurately, to express themselves and choose something that is as close as possible to their priorities, right? When this been arranged between the human resources department of the company with an external big body, perhaps the thing is very automatic, very mechanic, and they haven't been able to choose anything. They have just followed instructions, being given a key to go into a place that they hardly see in the pictures. Or yes, things like that. There was sometimes also a problem of coordination. The basic problem may have been this of a lack of human contact.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we offer. I am close to my clients, and I am sure you are as well. Yes, and we leave them months in advance, to get a good idea of what they have in mind.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, Angélica. The relationships that we build up with our clients. I mean, usually when the families who I work with, it's about 9 to 12 months of working closely with them, understanding everything about the family. What is it that they're really looking for? What is it that they don't want? And I do think there's a lot of value in building up this relationship with my families. And as well, of course, because I live here. I'm not from here. I've lived here for over 20 years. My 3 children are at school here in Madrid. My eldest was born in London. I'm quite close to what it is that my families are looking for. And quite often it can be, obviously, they come to me about schools, then they might have a question about housing, which I would share with you. And there's lots of other things. But a lot of it can be activities for the kids. What is it they want to do in Madrid? What's on offer for the children? And as well, a lot can be the social side. You've moved to this city. You found your house with Angélica. Your children have started school. And then it's like a couple of months in and it's a bit like, well, now what? What about and it quite often can be the mom, her social circle, or for the family social circle, really, to find their group of people, what's going on in Madrid. And I think both of us can offer a lot of additional advice, additional recommendations, suggestions, connections, introductions, which I think sometimes if it's a bigger firm that's managing several offices all over the world, I don't think they can get that level of detail. Or
they don't even bother. They don't bother. They have satisfied just one need. They have received certain instructions, certain in budget, certain rules, statements that are the indispensables, and they stick to that because, of course, they collocate thousands, right? And this is just one more number.
Yeah, which I think with a local specialist like you or myself, it's a different kind of relationship. So then I do think the value of getting to know our clients, I think, is a very big one. So now we're going to go on to the next part. So Angélica, and this is where I really want to pick your brains. So the rental market in Madrid. Everybody's telling us Madrid is booming. Madrid is more popular than it's ever been. And I think it's true. And Madrid is all over. We do have a lot more international people here in Madrid compared to years ago when I got here over 20 years ago. And you've been here how many years again, Angélica?
36.
You see, it's a completely different place, right? So the rental market has changed quite a lot in that 36 years. So I mean, the rental market has changed quite a lot in Madrid. We know prices have gone way up, especially in the more popular neighborhoods. Can you tell me,
Yeah.
like, for a family, what is it that they should be mindful of the rental market in Madrid? How might it be different to rental markets in other parts of the world?
Whoa, well, not that I have been in many other parts of the world, but I'd say at the moment in Madrid, things you have to understand. First of all, the market goes fast, and nobody is ready, is in the mood for waiting. So you cannot ask them to wait months in advance, because you liked a set of pictures in the month of January, February, but your move is in July. Unless it is a temporary movement and you can book automatically, for which you don't need me, then I mean, perhaps that way you can do, because in between there will be other people occupying that flat, that house, right? But if we have, if you want me to help you, even in temporary stays, say between 6 and 11 months, then just approach them 1 month, a month and a half before, so that they are ready. This is one of the main problems, that people have expectations of doing the job very well in advance, and no, it's not going to work. Then, because the market goes fast as well, don't be very picky. If you see something you like, then perhaps it will disappear that night or the following day. So when you find something that ticks all your boxes, or most of your boxes, try to be a bit flexible and go ahead with the booking or handing in your papers, because this may be the best place you are going to see.
Yeah.
So
I think
the 2 tips I'd give.
Yeah. I think that's very good advice, Angelica. I think it's something that I've heard from lots of my families, is that it moves so quickly. Once you see something, you rent it. And don't that I'm going to think about it. I'll come back to you. So timing is important. Timing as well in this in terms of schools is really important. You know, there's certain, if you're going to a concertado or a public school, there's certain applications and those specific times when you can apply. But even with the private schools where you can apply all year round, it's still a lot of the schools. It's important to get on their radar sooner rather than later, so then that you get to choose the school rather than just what's available, which is never very nice, especially if you're moving to another country, you're starting a new life here in Spain. You want to be able to choose. You want your children to be happy. You want to get the school right. You want to get your house right. And then you want to just be able to enjoy everything that this great city has to offer. And let's see, Angelica, what would you say are very popular neighborhoods, family neighborhoods here in the city?
Wow. Well, people's favorite first, the number one, anywhere in Chamberí. The closer to Santa Engracia, the better. Well, that would be also my favorite. And you see, I live in a town in Madrid, right? But I think that area has everything, right? It's full of amenities, and they have. There is a good combination of the big parks of Canal de Isabel II. If you are someone who needs to walk into greenery every day, there is a theater. There are lots of restaurants with a variety of food, and there is also an English bookshop in the very Santa Engracia. It is booksellers, no?
Yeah, but there are lots of there are so many English booksellers compared to before.
Look at that. Yeah, yes. So it is by far the best place. And of course, people have noticed that and they want to live, first of all, in Chamberí. Second, Retiro. The area of Ibiza is a favorite with international families.
Great food.
And yes, of course, you want to live in an area that offers all this variety. First of all, restaurants, the good restaurants, bars, places to come down to at the end of the day, right? And then it offers the feeling of neighborhood as well. It's very easy to be one of them, no? That feeling of integration. It's very, very easy to feel there, that you get that there. And third, I choose, and I'm going to be a little posh here, Príncipe de Vergara, Bernabeu area. And the Pacific. I want that. Right? And I mean, that's a little bit higher range, especially if you want El Viso. But worth Concha Espina, El Viso, the area is very nice to live there.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. They're all very nice neighborhoods, and they all have great schools. So it makes it's an easy one for families, I think. They've got, because if you choose a neighborhood with a lot of good schools, well, then it's an easier, you're not kind of diving into the unknown. So then let's go, if we have a family right now, Angélica, and if a family or parents are watching our conversation here about the chicken and the egg and which comes first, what would you give us some practical advice to these families who are planning to relocate to Madrid this year, next year, the year after? What advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, call me to have this conversation from a personal point of view. Right? First of all, call me, but also by yourselves, start planning, start investing what Madrid is really like, start checking pictures, reading about this city, read and watch, for example, the video, what they call the vlogs of these people who make podcasts about the city. There are so many, and they are very interesting. And now they are bloggers from all over the world talking about Madrid. So you can find good material in YouTube just as well.
Yeah, like us.
Influencers talking. Oh gosh, I'm an influencer. Well, I want people to come to me. That's
No, I think that's good advice. I would also add that for families who are thinking of coming here to Madrid with their children and thinking about schools, I think there's a couple of things that they should keep in mind. How old their children are. Is it really realistic for a 16-year-old, 15, 16-year-old who doesn't speak any Spanish to just go into a Spanish school? A lot of people, you'll see, they'll say children are sponges. It's all very easy, but it's not always the same. And it's very different. A child's age can really change what type of school you're looking for. So that would be one, to consider your child's age and what your family's needs really are, because what works for your family might not work for another family. And a lot of the time a school might be recommended or a neighborhood might be recommended, but really it's not actually what it is that you're looking for or that meets your needs. And the other, I think, which is fundamental, I would say to any family who's moving to Spain, if they do not speak Spanish and they're coming to Madrid, I would say invest in some Spanish lessons. It will really stand to them, because even if you go to an international school, a lot of the kids at the international schools are Spanish speaking. And just being out and about in Madrid, I think you can become really isolated if you don't speak Spanish. What would you say, Angélica?
Certainly.
Yes, I think
certainly, and it's a shame. People try to talk to you, and Spanish. You're going to realize for people who live in the capital city of a European country, our people, Madrileños, are very friendly. They try to speak to you. They give you their best smile, but when they see that you cannot connect, then they become impatient. And then you reach the other side of the Madrileño.
Yep.
It's a shame. Then they don't speak English.
I know a lot do,
Yeah.
but some don't. So I think to open your horizons and embrace everybody, I do think that you need to speak the language as well. And it's also polite. If you're moving to the country, the norm is you would at least a few words. You know, you could do a little couple of words. Like even David Beckham managed about 3 words, I do believe. I'm not sure what they were, but that's what I'd heard. So anyway, Angélica, this brings us to the end of our conversation. The chicken and egg dilemma continues. Let's see. I'm going to check if we have any questions from our public. Okay, here's one. Actually, Angélica, and this is an interesting one. I think it's interesting for both of us. What is something that families moving to Madrid that they're often worried about?
Right. In the case of families, I think especially how their children are going to feel in this new environment. For okay, children adapt, but there is always this shock, this new beginning, this lack of friends, and for children, the capacity to make friends is very important, right? So this is I think this is something parents worry about more than anything. Well,
for sure,
one of their main worries.
I mean, I'm a mom of 3, and I moved because obviously I work with schools, or I work within these schools, and I'm always visiting schools. So I moved my children to a new school 4 years ago, and this is the same school, the same city, same language. And I remember being my kid's first day at school, and my eldest was really upset. And like when she came all day, I was worried, thinking, oh my goodness, please, please, please let it be okay. Because I had made the decision to change schools. It wasn't a necessity. I thought it was different. And when they came out of school and they were smiling and laughing and they'd made friends and they were going to a birthday party, it was just like, wow. So I agree with you. I think as parents, that's something we always worry about. We want our children to be happy. And if they're happy, everything else will flow from that. Another thing I get some of my families that they worry about, and I think it's something that really we take for granted here. They worry about safety in schools, that something might happen within a school, and that it might some type of an emergency, or which is something, thank goodness, we don't have experience that way in Spain, and hopefully we never will. But that safety is a common concern.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I'd say Madrid is a safe city. Most of Madrid is absolutely safe any time of the day. And something I say to the people who live in the outskirts in front of the countryside is, first you come across a wild animal, then a thief.
What Angélica means by that is the wild boars, which are called the jabalís.
Indeed, San Sebastián de los Reyes.
This is very true. There's also a big problem with the jabalís in some parts of Catalonia. They're getting braver and braver, and they're looking for food.
Yes, the city grows more and more, and we take their place. What was their forest, but that's it. Life's life, and we want our urbage.
Of course.
Thanks.
And yes, we need more space and more space. So, Angélica, thank you so much. It's been wonderful talking to you, my dear colleague. If people want to continue the conversation with you, Angélica, if they want to speak about housing and relocating here to Madrid, where can they contact you? Or what is the best way to contact you?
Yeah, if you go into my website, relocationangelspain.com, and you press the button for a video call, requesting a video call, we'll be able to speak about your situation, your family, your expectations, and my services, what I can do for you for 30 minutes, right? You'll be able to book your appointment silently.
Wonderful.
That is the most practical thing. Other than that, you can write to me. Email address is relocationangelspain.com.
Wonderful, my relocation angel. I will add your contact links anyway to the video, so it'll make it easier for people to click through if they'd like when they'd like to speak to you. And of course, if any of you would like to discuss schools here in Madrid, you're thinking about it, you've already decided, you'd like to know more, you can contact me. I will share my contact details as well in this video, and you can also find it on my channel. Steps into Spain and Relocation Angel Spain. I'm very happy, and we hope you've enjoyed our conversation about the chicken and the egg.
Pio Pio.